Going on Twitch and YouTube after it's done here. This is actually the first episode of something that's called HaloCenter. It's a new content idea of mine. I hope to be doing this pretty consistently. It's going to be something where I discuss, let's say, nightly scrim results with pro teams, team changes, pretty much anything that's relevant in the HCS scene. I want to be able to discuss and talk about as it happens and not weeks or months after it's already happened. So, the first thing I'd like to start off with is just a simple power rankings thing of the top 8 teams currently in the HCS Pro Circuit. Uh, I'll start with 8. So, VWS Halo. I'm really, honestly, super surprised by this team. Suspector, Winter, Tragic, and Nemesis. I used to play them all the time in Reach. And we used to give them really good games, and they were always fun. But I never anticipated how good they'd get at H2A. So I'm surprised that they're the 8th seed. Um, they'll just have to continue to prove people wrong and continue to prove to people that uh, they are legitimately a top 8 pro team. So I'm excited to see how they do. I just don't have enough to really um, I just don't have enough to form an opinion about them other than the few times that I've played them online previously. Believe the hype has to be a huge disappointment. So they're the 7th seed right now. I think they got top 12 at the last event. It's APG, Clutch, Maniac, and Legit. I have a tremendous amount of respect for APG and Legit. Legit's been one of my favorite players for a long time. He's got a lot of skill. He's got a lot of individual skill. He's smart. He's objective oriented. He's not like a stat whore. He plays for the team at all times, and that's a pretty rare attribute. APG's just a pure gangster. That's his gamer tag is the epitome of his game style. He's aggressive. He's fast. He knows when to push, but he's pushes all the time. So whenever an opposing team ends up playing against him, it's a hassle. I've played him online, and online it's even scarier. Your bullets just ping right off him. But he's amazing, and he's an incredible player. Clutch and Maniac are the two that I don't know. I'm not. Clutch was really really good before, but he hasn't. I know he took a bit of a Halo break, and I'm not sure if that's something that contributed to having a little bit of a rougher placing here at this last event. I'm sure that could change, right? They're all veterans. Clutch is a national champion at one point, so they know how to win. They know what it takes. I just don't know if they're going to stick with that team or if there's going to be some changes. To be honest, if one of the top teams above them is going to be looking for a player to steal, APG is a really good bet, or Legit might get snagged as well. So I don't know if it's a team that's going to survive through this offseason. Then you look at the 6th-ranked team, Straight Rippin'. Easily my favorite team. I've loved them since the 2008-2007 season. So I'm going to be a little biased, but I'm going to try to be as honest and as fair about them as I can be. T Squared's been playing a lot. It's a team that's been playing a lot, but to be honest, prior to this last event, they did not practice the same amount that they practiced for Iron Gaming Columbus, and it showed. They played well for a day, but they kind of fell apart when they really needed to play their top Halo. They have the necessary skill. Nate is amazing. He's one of the most well-rounded players in the game. You'll see him do crazy things with the sniper. You'll see him do crazy things with map movement and decision making. He's extremely smart. Um, and so are the rest of the players. Like Straight Six, awesome. Prototype's very good. He's underrated. And T Squared gets a lot of hate, but he has the skills and the smarts to be the necessary top player on a team like Straight Rippin'. But I don't think they practiced enough, and I'm not sure if they practiced the right way. They were doing a lot of PGL games online rather than actually doing legitimate scrims against top teams. The only time they really did was in the online HCS Cup, and they got second. So they're a good team and they've got a lot of potential. I just don't think they practiced enough to kind of iron out those kinks in their armor that they had. So their placing is pretty much where they should be. That's 6th is what they've placed the last 2 events, and that's what they are in the HCS standings. And I can't see why that's wrong. They've earned it. 5th place is Cloud9, which is, you know what, is a little surprising to me. I think they should actually be a little bit higher than the fifth seed. They did have some unfortunate things at the last event. There was a little drama, some confusion as to what happened in their series against Optic Gaming. They had a lot of restart issues, a lot of problems with just how the games just how MCC works. But they didn't feel that they got the fair end of the stick and how the resetting rules work. So they ended up losing to Optic Gaming on Sunday when they felt they should have won. They're a very good team. They won the previous online HCS Cup and they did it in convincing fashion. They beat a couple top teams on the way. I think they beat CLG and then they beat Straight, who had just come off beating EG. So that was a pretty good win for them to have. They're all veterans, apart from, I mean, Ninja's even a veteran, but the, let's say, Fear itself, Hysteria, Victory X are all really well-known players that have an incredible reputation in the pro scene. Ninja got called out by Flamesword for saying that he's sometimes too aggressive and dies when he shouldn't. That's kind of the thing with Ninja. He's amazing. He's incredible. He does crazy things. His map movement's amazing. He's fluid. He's responsive, but sometimes he does get crazy. He has a lot of skill, so I can understand why he takes those risks. But I think a part of that too is just simply how the team works. I mean, if Ninja's as top of a player as he is, and as he says he is, right? He should understand that in those situations, it's not it's not smart to rely only on yourself. That you should be aware of what your teammates are doing and what's going on. And to be fair, nobody was able to watch that tournament, right? Like none of the spectators. I wasn't able to see the games. Nobody was able to see the games. So it's only simply from the two sides what we're hearing. It could have been that he had the perfect angle and just crazy unfortunate series of events happened and he couldn't get that final kill to give him that win in the 50-49 Game 5 Warlord Team Slayer. So, I mean, honestly, I think Cloud9 should be placing higher. They were doing extremely well before. They should be around the third seed, honestly. But we'll see if they do that next event. I think it's only a matter of time before they really click and they really start doing some big damage. Optic is number 4 on the list here, but they are just, I'm surprised by them as well, and a little bit differently. This is pretty much SQ reincarnated. Status quo of Flamesword, Ace, Assault, and Ares. Um, they've been around for a long time. 3 of those people have teamed for years and years and years, so their teamwork's amazing, and they've always had amazing teamwork. They're not necessarily the most individually skilled team, but you listen to them, you hear them, you see how they play. They have a natural chemistry that is hard to understand, and it's pretty rare actually to see in even any of the other top teams in the game. So they always have these crazy Sunday runs where they're in the losers bracket and they lost early, and everybody thinks they're gonna lose top 12, top 16. But on Sundays, on losers bracket runs, they always manage to do some crazy things. Which I don't know how they do it, but they do it event after event after event. So they're sitting at the 4th seed, and they're lucky too. I mean, I don't know how much I can really say they're lucky though if it continues to happen event after event after event. You got to chalk it up to skill at that point. I used to be a little bit of a hater for Optic because I just thought they got lucky over and over and over again. And they also always knocked out Straight Rippin' back in the Halo 3 days, so I held a little bit of a grudge. But they've been a really good team and a really solid team overall for the last couple tournaments. So um, I don't know if they're as good as they are as far as 4th seed, but I do think they belong in that area. I'd say they're probably the 5th best team in the game right now. Denial came out of nowhere. I honestly, the team on the top 8 that I've heard the least about. So you look at the players like Chig, Cloud, Mikwin, Ryanoob. They're all really well-known players. I mean, Cloud won a national championship. Ryanoob's been a top-placing player, and he's got a couple wins under his belt from Reach, and I think Halo 4 he might have won something too. They're all really well-known, really good players. I just did not expect them to come out of nowhere. They're a bit of a mismatch, like a mishmash of players. I didn't see them getting first, but they surprised everybody, I think. I mean, I thought they'd do well. I thought they might have it in them to get a top 4 placing. I just did not expect them to get first place. I definitely overlooked them. Ryan Noob knows how to win. He always does what's necessary. Mikwin's been underrated for forever and ever. When he used to team on Turning Point with Ninja, everybody's like, "Oh, Ninja's better," but Mikwin always made the smart players. Always wasn't quite as flashy, but he always had the skill, and he always did what was necessary for his team to win. Cloud used to be a beast. Back in Halo 3, he was on instinct one of the best players in the game. He has a tremendous amount of skill. He's smart. He's a concise communicator. So I'm not surprised to see him reaching the upper echelon of competitive Halo. And Chig's been amazing for a long time. He used to be one of the most individual skilled players that didn't have the chance or the opportunity to shine. But it looks like now with this team that he's got, they're really doing damage. Second is Evil Geniuses. So this is what everybody used to call the God Squad. You're looking at Roy, Lunchbox, Snipe Down, Lethal, players that have been around for forever. But to be honest, them being the second seed is a pretty big disappointment. When you're called the God Squad, you are expected to be the best team in the game. You don't get that name lightly. The previous Instinct went on, and I think they lost one game in their first tournament, and then went without a single loss in their second tournament. I can't remember right. They were extremely dominant. They were easily the best team in Halo Reach, and they had an enormous amount of skill over everybody else. So when you look at Roy, Lunchbox, Snipe Down, Lethal, you'd think they'd be winning everything, but they had difficulties with objective game types, like straight beat them online. I think prior, and they had a 50 kill on like I think it was Bomb on Warlord, and they outslayed Straight by 50 kills and still lost. And I think something similar, not quite to that extent, happened at the event, and they lost when they should have never lost those games. So, to be honest, with that level of skill and talent on that team, I'm surprised that they didn't win. They should be. They should be winning. And the fact that they're not is a disappointment, and I'm sure they are disappointed. They're all extreme competitors, though. So, I mean, Roy and Lunchbox, Snipe Down, they all hate losing, and I'm sure they'll come out swinging. I would expect them to probably be one of the most practiced teams heading into Gamers for Giving tournament in February. Number one, they didn't win the last event. They got second place, is Counter Logic Gaming. So they have the GOAT and Ogre 2, Hines, Royal 2, and Snakebite. A lot of people consider Royal 2 to be the best player in the game right now, rep in Canada. He's amazing. He's got a crazy sniper. He hits a bunch of shots. He's a robot. One of my friends calls him a Terminator because that's pretty much what he is. Uh, Ogre 2's done a really good job of mixing a good blend of players. So you've got Royal 2 and Snakebite, which I think he calls him the young talent. And then you've got him and himself as Ogre 2 and Hines to be the veterans on the team to really glue everything together and to really have the support for the other two players of Royal 2 and Snakebite that they need to be successful. They've been consistently one of the best teams in the game. The last couple tournaments, they've been amazing. They won the last one. They got second place at this one, but to be honest, they didn't practice as much as they did prior, which is a little surprising considering this one had even more prize money. So I think it's probably something happened in real life. I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what happened that prevented them from putting in the time that was necessary for them to really practice. But I can't see them doing it again. If they do, I mean, Gamers for Giving isn't a huge tournament. It is $10,000 on the line. But even then, I don't expect them to overlook it. And after that, obviously, are the championships. So those top 8 teams right now are looking at a guaranteed invite to the $50,000 ESL finals. All those teams are going to play way more Halo than what we've seen coming into that event. There's a lot more money on the line. I'm sure there's going to be extremely high production values. It's probably going to be the best Halo tournament we've seen in a long time, and I'm excited. I don't know about as far as team changes, what's going on. I haven't heard anything. Nothing up to this point that I know of has happened. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Believe the Hype ends up getting poached, and you see a couple players on that team slide away to different top teams. To be honest, it would probably be in their best interest unless they choose to practice a lot more or choose to really put in the effort to be a top team. I think they're a team that could get split up pretty easily at this point. All the other teams, I mean, you never know. Halo's known for having crazy team changes that don't make any sense. So, I mean, I don't know. What if Pistola's healthy again in a couple weeks or something, and then there's that crazy free agent and another storm happens? You never know. But the teams that they currently are, I don't know if there'll be a lot of team changes coming into Gamers for Giving. The only thing I could see happen